don't recommend it. Don't think when you're purchasing, you're thinking about the logistics. You order it on Amazon. You're going to have to pull it out, unpack it, at least rinse it off. Then you're going to have to transport it to your venue. You're going to have to assign someone to take care of it because you want to leave with sparklers and go on your honeymoon and not worry about dishes. Someone has to recrate that, bring it all back, and then wash it. And then it ends up in your garage, and you'll probably have a garage sale.
And if you're not very much into design, you may be absolutely clueless on like, where do I start? Here is basically like, this is my theme, please help me. And you cater all of that to them.
We do that all day long. That's why we have these little personal spaces to work. We may be here a couple of hours, but we want to make sure that it's right and that you're happy with it.
I love it.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and besides of being recently married, I own the leading company in bouquet preservation in the world. It is when connecting with my clients that I felt the need to serve them and help them navigate this new and exciting journey. On this podcast, we bring you everything you need to know to plan the wedding of your dreams. We'll be featuring conversations with top wedding vendors and valuable tips and advice from real couples. Whether you're engaged or simply love, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's get started on this journey to your perfect wedding day. Welcome to the club, to Bridal Club.
Today, I have the pleasure to be interviewing one of the co-owners of one of the most elite rental companies here in Dallas, Texas. While we actually used their services for my own wedding, I didn't get to experience any of this because Macy, our planner, took care of everything. So today, I'm here to experience everything for the first time and answer all your questions so you don't actually have to do the research. So help me welcome Jamie to this podcast. Hi, Jamie. Thank you so much for letting us be here today and experience everything for the first time.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
I was surprised to hear this was your first visit.
I know. I kind of feel like I missed out. On the other hand, I wanted to make sure that I was a guest at the wedding instead of actually the host. So that's why I skipped the process. But I'm so glad we're here today. Why don't you tell us who you are and how you started this business?
I'm Jamie Goetz. My background's actually in catering. So that's where the logistics parts comes through. And my business partner, Laurel, actually ran RSVP Rentals before we became Posh Couture Rentals. So we have many decades of experience in both. So most of the time I'm looking at Posh through the camera lens of a caterer in the back of the house, the cooking equipment. Or Laura will tell you she hates cooking equipment and just would love to have pretty plates. So our 15 years together has kind of built a very unique niche rental company.
I love that. I honestly did not expect all these options that you have. And I am just really excited to show our audience, of course, not only, like everything that you have to say, but actually show them what it's like to work with you.
Absolutely.
When we arrived, you were telling us a little bit of like the high-end products that you have. And as I told you, after seeing the stunning silverware that you guys had for my wedding, I researched it online and I was like, well, if I were to buy the same amount of silverware for my guests, which we only had 32 people, I would have spent $4,500 in just the silverware alone. So that goes to show you of like the type of products that you offer and obviously all the variety that you have. So let's talk a little bit about all the options that you have and what it's like to work with you.
Well, we actually have a founding philosophy of, working with a budget doesn't mean to sacrifice your taste and your style. So we do carry a lot of just basic brands. We have a whole nother wall of just basic white plates, basic trimmed plates at a very affordable price. And then what we'd like to do is layer and build on top of that with some of these nicer timeless pieces, especially some of the more couture pieces. Like we have this Mataheta tobacco leaf. It's a #1 selling pattern for over 150 years. So like you were saying, you were looking at it, the flatware, maybe purchasing it. Most people will have this on their registry. So even after the wedding, you could come here and say, oh, I'm having 12 at my house, but I need another 6. So we kind of build a relationship on that based on these timeless pieces.
Obviously, you have plates right here. What kind of other rentals do you have available?
Linens. And we, of course, have the china, flatware, glassware, and chargers. We have lots of chairs that we do have a spending problem because we have 8 more chairs coming, 8 or 9 more chairs coming in the spring, and 4 more china patterns and 2 more glassware patterns.
Wow. We have a spending problem.
Yes, we do have a spending problem. Yeah. We do love pretty things. And it's just kind of reflective of, how the things change and how just adding more layers to mix together.
Of course, yes, and we're actually sitting on the chairs that we rented for my wedding.
Okay.
I
Very
think,
comfortable.
yes, very comfortable, very stunning. I mean, it was very, well, I say pretty straightforward, black on black. However, the items that were selected by Macy and you,
Mhm.
where it had gold in it, just to make sure that not like it wouldn't didn't blend exactly like totally, you know. So having those pop of colors were key to make the tabletop just
Pop.
pop exactly.
Mhm.
By the way, the glassware, I think it was the Manhattan, right?
Oh, yes,
That
that
we
was
used.
new at the
Oh,
time.
stunning. Like you really elevated everything at the wedding.
I think if you could, call a glassware sexy, that would be the
Yes,
pattern.
100%. And I cannot wait to share the cocktail photos because
Yes,
they
the
sexy is the
right word
perfect
for
word.
that one, yeah.
Absolutely love it, and it's so true. Let's
True.
talk about personal touches, like how if somebody comes to you, and again, this is for anyone who has a planner or not, because they work directly with brides as well or
Mhm.
couples. What is the process like?
Well, they'll generally come in and have a pretty good idea of, the date, the venue, hopefully the menu, because that does help when we're,
Why?
choosing the china. Just because you may not need as many pieces. So
Okay.
just like if I go into Nordstrom's, I'm kind of overwhelmed by all the options.
Mm-hmm.
If I go there and I'm just looking for a black shirt, it's easier for me to focus on that
Okay.
purchase. So a lot of people will come too early and pick a charger and 5-piece place setting and six glasses for wine service, and they end up doing a buffet.
Okay.
So then you have to kind of go back and reinvent
Okay.
that.
So you definitely recommend getting the menu set up first, like
Yes.
finding all of like what it is going to be like, obviously having the theme, and then coming to you. When do you recommend people to start talking to you or coming to a showroom?
I would say within 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Just because by that time, most of the critical decisions have been made. This becomes a less stressful and more fun part of the planning because these are all the pretty things.
I love that. A lot of vendors, and including us, we say, book us as soon as you have a wedding date, and that's a lot. So thank you for saying that. Using a timeline is obviously super important and easy on the bride and or the groom as well. But I love that. So 3 to 6 months. Once you have your theme, once you have your menu, whether you have a planner or not, again, come talk to them. They
Sure.
have so many
And I think
products.
it's also, just like I was saying, with us and our spending problems, we have so many more options. So if you were trying to plan a year out, you might have so many more options
Yeah.
3 to 6 months out
Yeah.
because we're constantly, generating more inventory.
Yeah.
So we might not have the right piece, but you went with one chair, but then we get 8 or 9 more in, and you're like, that's the chair I
I
always
know, you don't
wanted.
want to miss out.
Yes, you
Okay.
don't want to miss out.
So let's talk about your services. Of course, you can come here and rent. As a bride, would I be taking care of everything, or how does that work?
We have people that are entertaining small groups and they just come and pick it up
Okay.
just fine. We have people that have out of town events that come and pick up
Oh, great.
and bring it back. But of course, we deliver all over the country.
Okay, I
So,
actually did not know that. So
yes,
that's so great to know.
this year we're in Tennessee, Colorado. We're in a lot of places, Texas,
Amazing.
Austin, Houston, all the time. We've been to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. We've been
Wow.
to the Hamptons.
Wow.
I've even admit I've sent my husband to New York because he's from New York. And it's like, well, since you know New York, you can take the van and
Yeah,
drop it
right?
off.
Oh my God, I love it. We obviously we're here to talk to brides, but you do a lot of different events. Can we talk about that
Yes,
a little
we
bit?
do a lot of social events, any fundraising. We work a lot with nonprofits, with schools, corporate lunches, dinners, fundraisers, awards,
Amazing.
you name it.
Yeah. How many events do you do a year?
Roughly 3,000.
Like what? Did you imagine this 15 years ago?
No,
No.
not. And I never dreamed that we'd just be as large as we are and as busy as we are. I think it goes a lot to our team. We've had the same group of people since we started. Our warehouse manager's been with us. Alejandro, who pulls the China and flatware department, love him. I mean, he's been here 13 years.
Wow.
We're just a family here.
Yeah.
And I think that's really why a lot of people contract us. It's just for the customer service level.
Oh, I love
I
that.
mean, the group that was just in here before said, I only use you and I have my favorite driver and I
Yeah.
request my favorite driver. And
Yeah.
it just makes their part of the process
Of
so
course.
much easier.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you. Congratulations. So, if I had a dinner that is very intimate, very little people, can I still come rent like silverware and flatware
Sure.
from? Okay.
We had one person in this morning whose husband sprang a dinner party on her for 12. Well, I actually personally know her own china patterns in her inventory. So
Nice.
she usually comes in for a charger,
Okay.
chairs so that she can
Oh, I
fit
love that.
more at her dinner table, and a charger usually, and she's in and out.
What is the biggest event you've done? Like how many guests?
I mean, this month we have 3 or 4 events that are over 700 people.
Wow.
We're going, like I said, to Tennessee later this year. There's 3 events, so it's a full weekend. So we'll be gone for a good week,
Wow.
and a good full 3 trucks full of china, flatware, and glassware for 3 different
I just
events.
can't imagine where you store everything. That is so crazy.
Well, there's 27,000 square feet here, another separate table and chair warehouse, storage unit for things that we can't seem to get rid of. Hold on.
I know, right? It's like I know somebody's gonna rent it. I know. So I'm part of a lot of different groups on Facebook, of course, as a bride, but also as a vendor. And I keep seeing that brides buy just to sell or throw away. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't recommend it just because don't think when you're purchasing, you're thinking about the logistics. And it always goes back to the logistics in the back of the house. I mean, you order it on Amazon or what have you, you're going to have to pull it out, unpack it, at least rinse it off. Then you're going to have to transport it to your venue. You're going to have to assign someone to take care of it because you want to leave with sparklers and go on your honeymoon and not worry about dishes. But someone has to recrate that, bring it all back, and then wash it. And then it ends up in your garage, and you'll probably have a garage sale. We've been approached several times with people that have done that, but again, it's quantity and it's also very personal pieces that are selected. So you
Yes.
don't necessarily go with our collections. Or
Hmm.
you may have just had, like, you had a small wedding of 32. We couldn't do anything with 32. I mean, our average purchase is 500
Hmm.
of each piece.
Wow.
Glassware, it's
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to we were talking about being green earlier as well. That's one of
Hmm.
the key elements as well. You're reusing basically and renting all these.
Yes.
Okay.
We actually have software that tracks it, and I'll say a white dinner plate goes out 28,000 times
Well,
in 1 year.
these numbers.
So if we're saving the environment that way, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so do you see any trends that you want to talk about right now? What should brides be looking for?
We see so many things because, your wedding is a reflection of your own personal style.
Absolutely.
And I do, though, like taking a little bit deeper of a step into, and we'll see it in our showroom later, of just using different size tables, like rectangles and
Mm.
rounds mixed, and maybe some furniture pieces.
Hmm.
And then even going a step further and adding a different linen on each size table and
Mm.
mixing chairs.
Okay.
And then even mixing the tabletop. Maybe the rounds have a certain place setting and the rectangles have another place
Oh,
setting. Now,
cute.
your caterer is going to hate me for that, but I think it adds such a great layer of, texture and design
Right.
to the look without spending any more money. You're still going to rent the same amount of charges,
Of
the same amount of
course.
china. You
Of
can just be a
course.
little more creative with that
Yeah,
fee.
and the cool thing about obviously renting from you is that they come here and I mean if you're not very much into design, you may be absolutely clueless on like where do I start, like with plates and silverware. I mean there's so many decisions and you're not thinking about it, but here is basically like this is my theme, please help me and you
Yes,
cater all of that to
we
them.
do that all day long. That's why we have these little personal spaces to
Yep.
work where we're putting down different linens. It's always a good base to start. And then just with your menu and the items you need, we can kind of build on top of that. And we may be here a couple of hours, but we want to make sure that it's right
Yep.
and that you're happy with
I
it.
love it. Do you have any advice for couples that are looking into renting?
I do think, again, timing's important so that you're not overwhelmed with the selection process. Whether your staff, like mixing glassware for specialty cocktails. I mean, a full good list of what you need, either from your caterer, really helps make the decisions here.
Okay, wonderful. So how can people find you, connect with you, and of course use your services?
Well, you can call us. Follow us on Instagram at Posh Couture Rentals, or you can look at our website, put a list of items together that you want to get pricing on and start initiating the conversation. And that's at info@Posh Couture Rentals. Now, you might be surprised. I'm the person behind that email.
Oh, wow. Oh my
I
God.
answer them all personally and make sure that I kind of get the information they need and let them know what the process is, and then I connect them with our team up front who all have different specialties, but whether it may be traveling or working with your caterer or your venue, kind of put you with the right person.
I love it. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time again.
you.
For those who are listening, please make sure that you check the YouTube video as we're gonna do a tour and really just show you how it's like to work with Posh Couture Rentals. Thank you so much.
Learn about all things wedding straight from the experts. Be sure to like and subscribe to Bridal Club.